Bridge. Where else? And over there, the Bell Building. The United States is, of course, the home of Ma Bell, now divided into AT&T and the 7 Baby Bell holding companies, each one of them a giant. Until 1984 and divestiture, Ma Bell was the biggest telephone company in the world. Come to that, of course, the biggest company in the world of any sort. As you know, America's a country where they like things to be biggest and best. Big is easy to understand. To reach Los Angeles from New York, it's like flying from London to Lagos, or maybe Baghdad. It may not be elegant, but as you can discover walking down any street, it's different. The Americans, of course, invented the phone, and since then, they've gone about as far as they can go. Further, in some cases. There's the hot dog phone, hot lips. If you want to get on the dog and bone, there you go. Football fanatics, arcaded for, shoes in all colors for foot fetishists. Lego. Musical phone. Even your flexible friend here. Hello, Ducky. Whicker here. Steve Glick, who works for a large phone company here, took me for a ride. The stretch limo, incidentally, is no longer mafioso transport, but almost as common on the streets at Beverly Hills as our red telephone boxes used to be at home. But there's no doubt that Americans do love their telephones.
Oh, yes.
I mean, it is welded to their ears, practically, isn't it?
Absolutely. And the innovations just keep coming. And they're putting telephones in more and more places.
Because once upon a time, you could have any telephone service you wanted in the majority of the country, as long as it was Ma Bell.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got a wide choice.
For long-distance carriers. For local carriers, you have no choice. It can be kind of a confusing process for the consumer. They're presented all these choices, and they're asked to pick one.
How has this diversity of choice affected the car phone?
Well, you get 2 different carriers in Los Angeles, and you have to make a choice which one you want. If you go into an area outside of Los Angeles, then you may have to work with another carrier, one who has that territory, and you may have to give an operator, once you enter their territory, your credit card number so you can continue your call.
If you're in the middle of a conversation?
Yes.
She's going to come in and say, who's paying for this?
Right.
Yes.
Exactly, or else she'll cut you off.
When we think of the United States, we usually see New York or Hollywood or maybe Dallas. But of course, much of America looks far more like this. Running Springs in the San Bernardino Mountains, 75 miles outside LA. In places like this, you often can't dial overseas directly. In fact, Running Springs only got IDD in August 1988. So, what do they make of it?
I think it's great.
Now, do you call overseas?
Not really. Not a lot, no.
Have you ever done it?
Yes, I have.
Where did you call?
Sicily. Talked to my grandparents.
I think it's wonderful.
And do you call overseas?
Yes, I have a son that's in the Navy, and he's stationed in Hawaii right now, in Oahu, so I'll be able to take advantage of that.
Of course, I mean, Hawaii is still in America, isn't it?
Yes, true, but for me it's overseas.
Back in New York, I asked Jonathan Ogilvy, who worked for BT in England before coming to New York as Vice President Marketing, about the breaking up of the Bell Corporation. And Ma Bell, just behind you there, Ma Bell went through divestiture in 1984. How did this divestiture affect the ordinary subscriber here?
The major criticism of the divestiture over here is that telephone service has been broken up into so many different interested parties that the man on the street really doesn't know who to turn to solve his telephone problems. One of the major benefits of the European telephone scene, and particularly in the UK, is that competition was introduced, yet it still preserved the end-to-end responsibility of the telephone companies. This has made it easier for consumers to track problems and blame people when things go wrong. Over here, that situation doesn't exist. You have different responsibilities and different companies for every segment of the telephone connection. You have local telephone companies at each end, plus a long-distance carrier, plus you will probably have, in fact, you almost definitely will have a different supplier for your terminal equipment. And sorting out the problems which can exist in that technology chain can be quite horrendous.
What do you think BT still has to learn from what happened here?
I think the major thing that we can learn from what's happened in the States is to differentiate our product from Mercury in terms of service. The customers were given a choice about who their long-distance carrier should be. At the present moment, 85% of them have still elected to stay with AT&T because of the service they offer.
So what are they providing here that we're not?
Awareness of the customer's needs. For example, when I call AT&T, it's a free number. It's the same number for anywhere in the United States. I'll get an operator who can, through some means of their database system, know instantly who I am and what my telephone number is, what services I've ordered, and it's the little touches, like saying thank you for calling AT&T, asking me will I call them again next time, and has my problem gone away. It's that type of service which we need to be concentrating on.
Thank you for calling British Telecom. May I help you? Hold on, please.
To make sure BT does win in New York, the company hired a sales director with a certain amount of weight behind him. Ray Findlay must find it quite easy to make offers people can't refuse.
We currently have the largest trading floor in New York, possibly the world, is a British Telecom installation. That's Merrill Lynch with something in the order of 1,200 screens.
That can't be bad. Now, why did they decide to go for us?
They wanted the most advanced technology on their trading floor, and the BT system provided that, and they were the only people who could provide screen-based technology.
Apart from Merrill Lynch, you've had some other wins out here.
Oh, absolutely. We currently have a very large trading floor at Prudential Beige, which we're very excited about because it's an installation that constantly grows and changes. We started with our screen-based system, and now we've started installing key-based products, which is another leap forward in our technology.
You're buying 1,200?
Prudential Base is one of the largest financial institutions in the world, and their Director of Communications, which at Pru Base means telephones, not PR, is Bill Rush.
Well, British Telecom offered us flexibility that we could not find in any other vendor. The equipment is programmable, therefore when we have changes, and as you can see on the floor here, there is a lot of activity going on. Change is constant. We have to be able to match that change very, very quickly. The British Telecom equipment allows us to be able to make changes rapidly and securely. Besides that, British Telecom offers us another large firm that matches up very well with us. They're big, we're big. They're global, we're global. So it's a very good blend.
How many years have you been working with them?
We've been working with British Telecom now for about 4.5 years.
And how do they rate?
They rate very well. They are clearly a firm that will have to be reckoned with in the communications industry because of their capabilities and their size. And they understand what competition is about, which is very important these days, since not only in the financial services industry, but any industry today is under immense competition. Well, British Telecom has the capability of becoming the #1 player in the communications market. They have most of the pieces in place. They've got the right people. And I think their senior management is positioning the firm very well to be the #1 player in the world.
So as we wave goodbye to Wall Street, it's good to know that whether they're buying or selling, a lot of them are doing it all on British Telecom equipment. In our next film, we'll be taking a look at some of the areas in which British Telecom is already #1. This room's been visited by top telecom officials from around the world. Now, it's your turn.